not quite sure, but you then see that everything is working perfectly, you're thinking, these people have it figured out. Yeah, they know what they're doing. And that was possible for them to walk as perfectly as they did, because this is always 1 meter 20 by 1 meter 20, so exactly one goose step. Yeah. So for me it's a little bit long, because you have to be 1 meter 80 or taller to be part of the army at the beginning.
So we are in Zeppelin field here in Nuremberg, and this field is where the Nazi grand marches were held during Hitler's Nazi Germany, and up to 1.2 million Germans gathered. Up to 1.2 million Germans gathered here, waiting for their Führer to speak, and he would stand up there where those people are. Yeah, and the display of the German Nazi military was held here. Okay.
This is the beginning of this whole area of Zeppelin Field, which is where the Nazis did marches. They also did marches elsewhere. But this is only part of the field up to the right, way back. Industrial sites.
Huge.
The castle wall was, and it went around all this way to this tower over there. So right now we are technically in on castle grounds, and this building was very important for the people living here back then, because this was where the stables were and also where they stored the food. So back then that was so important, because usually when you wanted to take over a city, you didn't just kill everybody inside the city, right? Because you would be left with a ghost town, and what are you going to do with that? Yeah. What people did is they put the castle under siege, meaning that they positioned their men, and I say men on purpose, all around the castle, and basically just waited for the people inside to surrender. Usually that happened because they ran out of food or because they ran out of water. And as you can see by the size of this building, they could store quite a bit of food in here, and they actually had to never had to surrender because of that reason. So they really did plan ahead. Nowadays, these were a voluntary association first. They later on made it mandatory to be a part of the Hitler Youth. And so they would meet here, and the girls, for example, they would be shown how to be good housewives and how to be good mothers, because that was supposed to be their place in the Nazi Empire. Yeah? And that was mainly because obviously they knew that they were going to lose a lot of soldiers in the war, so they obviously needed offspring as well to repopulate Germany and to keep the German race alive. And I say the German race with inverted commas, because there never was a German race and there never will be a German race. It actually doesn't make sense if you look at what Germany looks like geographically. We have too many countries surrounding us, so obviously there's always been cultural exchange. So yeah, no chance. Sorry Hitler, I guess. Yeah. So that's what their job was supposed to be. And then the boys, they received a little bit more of a military education, so that eventually they would be willing to die for their country. And some of them did. So 60,000 underage boys went to war and died, yeah? Because they were already prepared to die for their country, because they had been indoctrinated up until that point where they were prepared to leave to lose their lives in order to protect their country, basically, or to construct this next 1,000-year-long empire that Hitler wanted to construct. But not just young people joined the army towards the end of the war, also older people. So for example, my great-granddad, he had already served in World War I, and then he was asked to join the war again towards, in May of 1945, and things were not looking good, even he knew that by then, and even the information on the Nazi radio wasn't convincing people anymore. So he hid in the attic for a few days, hoping that they would just forget about him, and he was right to do so, because after just a few days, the American soldiers came to our town and liberated it.